Goddamn.
Well. Man, this is you know, th- this is one of those this is one of those weeks of this is one of those weeks of unscripted, bro. This is one of those weeks of unscripted. There is actually quite a lot of interesting things to talk about here today, which if you guys can't tell from the title and the thumbnail, you guys obviously know. When those are pre-made, there's usually some interesting stuff to talk about because I, I gotta say, man, I am I was genuinely shocked, and I was genuinely shocked by the ending of Monday Night Raw, and I cannot say that for oh God, I can't. um Honestly, the last time I was probably that shocked when Monday Night Raw ended was honestly the last time I was shocked at all when Raw ended was maybe when the Vision formed the night after WrestleMania when Braun Breaker, you know, speared CM Punk and Roman Reigns. Um, you know, at the end of that show, that was maybe the last time I actually felt a little just a little something at the end of Monday Night Raw. Other than that, it's been very but regardless, man, I was shocked. I was shocked, man. So obviously there's a lot more to it as the news is coming out. But yeah, I gotta I gotta say, man, I was shocked. Other than that, we have this episode of SmackDown that critics are raving about
They
because
are,
because
for some reason.
this is the I guess first episode where the creative team has changed. Even though they're still the same head of creative, the creative team has changed. So, hopefully this episode of SmackDown we're going to talk about is life changing, like the IWC made it out to be. So we'll get to that, and then to start you guys off, bro, we have AEW
Show.
Title Tuesday.
Hell yeah, dog. Title Tuesday, 2.5 hours. Let's go. Who just love two
Two
and a half hour dynamite?
me because
What?
this two and a half this episode of AEW, man, was what the fuck? I mean, what what's going on? I mean, oh God. And apparently they got slaughtered too, which the episode did kind of deserve it, but I
Yeah.
mean, it definitely you guys know how wrestling fans could be about AEW, man. They get a rating that bad, and it was very bad, and the show was very bad, which Dynamite is very bad. But according to some of these people in the IWC, they're getting ready to close doors, man. So you guys know how that goes. But like I said, there's a bunch to get into. And obviously I just gave you guys a little glimpse into it, man, a little peek into the window. But with that being said, if this is your first time watching, you guys do not know how the show works, every Tuesday, we are on here at 12 p.m. Central with NHP Unscripted. Every Friday at 3 p.m. Central, we are on here with the news. And for the pay-per-views for both WWE and AEW, we are live directly after the show goes off the air with the official post-show review, man. If you guys did miss this past weekend, specifically this past Saturday morning edition of the Crown Jewel 2025 post-show review, as well as Friday's episode of the news. You guys can find both of those live on all platforms now. That is Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and if you want to see it first, join us right here, like I said, Friday at 3 p.m. Central, and for the pay-per-views for both WWE and AEW directly after the show goes off the air. Speaking of which, we will be live this Saturday night for AEW's Wrestle Dream. Everything actually on our end is about finished up for all those, man. So I'm excited for you guys to see what that looks like. And I'm excited for you guys to see a little surprise we have coming for you guys on Saturday night. There is something new that will be debuting alongside the pay-per-view streams, just the pay-per-view streams going moving forward. So I want to thank you guys. I want to thank you guys for joining us for the pay-per-view streams as always. So those will be a little different going forward now. There will be a little something new. A little something new. So I don't want to give too much of a glimpse into it, but I'm excited for you guys to see it. I'm excited for you guys to see it. It's been a thought for a minute, and I'm excited that we were able to work everything out with that for the pay-per-view stream. So I'm very excited for that. Very, very excited for that. However, also, if you guys have not got a chance to get your hands on some of the official NHP merchandise, you guys can now find this live on the merch shop. That is bonfire.com. Link is at the top of the description of this very video, man, where you can find this beautiful piece of Notorious Heels merchandise live on there as we speak. Again, the link is at the top of the description for that, and that is bonfire.com, man. Also, if this is your first time watching and you guys do not know who we are here at Notorious Heels, I am Johnny, one half of the host of this very show, and as for the other half, we have my guy, Sir K here, Mr. NHG. Sir K, he's Mr. a lot of things, but he's Mr. Notorious Heels Gaming. Sir K, go ahead and tell everybody what it is you are smiling about today.
Yo, man, I'm doing good. The vision looks to be over. Overall, man. At first, I was skeptical. I thought it might be a ruse, but as more news-related stories come out to it, I think it might be true, and it does suck. And when we get to Friday, it really does suck for Seth, I will say. But R.I.P. Vision, man. Um, I think they lasted 175 days, and that was 175 days of some boring episodes of Raw. But we'll get into the details when we talk about the Raw portion, man. Overall, I'm doing good, man. I'm excited overall for Wrestle Dream. It looks like a pretty decent show. Graphics look amazing per usual. So I'm very excited for you guys to see those, and for the surprise come that episode of the review, man. And I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Just been chilling. Just been waiting for these weekends, man. October. It's been pretty good so far. So, gotta always love October. And I'm doing good, man. Like, can you guys hear that beeping?
Slightly, but not much. Just a
Okay, it
yeah.
should be
You're fine now. I don't hear it anymore.
okay. Okay, it should be going soon. But like Durante was asked, how's life? How's the family? Life's good. Family's good. How is everybody doing in the live chat? How's everyone watching the replay? What about you, bro? How are you doing?
Hey, man. Not too bad, bro. Not too bad. Obviously, we're off the back of what was a pretty good weekend, man. It was a pretty good weekend. Uh, Professionally, obviously here with a podcast, and then personally as well. A bunch of cool stuff going on, man. So, you know, love the month of October, man. We've been getting that classic nostalgic fall weather. So I've really been enjoying that. I've enjoyed it a lot. So that's been nice. That's been nice. Just to have again. The fall is always the fall always just gives you those nostalgic weather type of days, man. If you guys know what I'm talking about. But yeah. Other than that, doing good, man. Obviously, just gearing up towards the towards Wrestle Dream weekend, and then right into the end of the month and into November, which is also another very busy weekend, or very busy month. I mean, sorry. So yeah, you guys know how it goes, man. Haven't progressed too much in Dying Light the Beast. But overall, the game is fun, man. Kyle Crane, I will have to say, I don't want to spoil it in case anybody hasn't played it. I'll say he's a bit washed up. He's a bit washed up. My man cannot parkour like he once did back in 2018. However, still a very fun game nonetheless, and I have been enjoying myself on that. Whenever I do get the chance to tap in and play it, man. So yeah, that is that. But hey, man, like I said, just enjoyed my weekend, man. The weekend, sometimes it sucks when your weekend does fly by, but this weekend I actually didn't have that problem, so it was nice, man. But as for you guys, how is everybody doing here in the live chat? As Toronto is asked, I am good, the family's good, and how are you guys doing, man? Durante, Logan, Bell, and we have the one and only, the owner of GDR Finances LLC, GDR Roofing LLC. We have Mr. Walk 'em down and cut they shiz off. We have Mr. Walk 'em down and run that marathon. Mr. Walk 'em down and cook that shit up. We have the man, the myth, the legend. We got my guy, Gotti, in here, bro. How are you doing? Thank you guys for joining us as always. Whether you're here now or my guys in the Replay Mafia, JT and JB. Thank you guys as always for joining us. And Gotti says real king shit. Back to you, brother. Back to you.
See you, bro. It's you.
He says he won't be in chat much because he's currently roofing. GDR Roofing LLC is a real thing. But he says he will be listening. He's been waiting all day for us to go live, man. I did see your IG stories about you roofing people's houses, bro. So I hope it's not too much of a hassle, bro. But hey, make your money, bro. Make your money. Get that bag. Okay. So we got manager Logan in the house. Logan's got some very interesting comments that I for sure wanted to highlight. He says, I do not understand breaking up the vision right now. I mean, it wasn't the greatest, but War Games was right around the corner. Okay, so before we knew Rollins was hurt, and obviously in my head, I just thought that they just broke the group up and he wasn't hurt. So immediately, I was like, I like it because the group is over. Because let's be honest, Seth Rollins, there was no cohesion in the group, right? It's like they were hardly a group at points, right? So in that regard, I didn't necessarily mind them breaking the group up. However, the only things that worried me were the obvious things that I can worry about in WWE nowadays, which is, did they just do this for the moment? Did they do this for the moment and no plan, right? And then my second thought was, this catastrophically fucks up War Games because the vision has been the biggest part about Monday Night Raw since they were formed, the night after WrestleMania. You can even say, since night one of WrestleMania, when Braun Breaker wasn't even in the group yet, and it was just Rollins and Paul Heyman. They were the biggest part of Monday Night Raw, right? And obviously, you have built Monday Night Raw, you have built the Netflix era of Monday Night Raw around the vision. So for these guys to be taken out of War Games, and then obviously we just seen the story of them getting Austin Theory as a part of the group to team with the Vision at War Games, along with Brock Lesnar. So what happens with what happens with War Games now is my question. are they just going to carry along with, are they going to do the bronze, Brock Lesnar, Austin Theory, and somebody else versus the baby faces? So it's very interesting. But then obviously, we're hearing about, you know, all the stuff with Rollins' injury, and he has to relinquish the championship, and obviously plans that were supposed to happen next year got rushed up until this year. And it obviously does, and it honestly does make it seem more real. It makes it seem more real. It makes it seem like, Rollins is actually hurt. And, it just seemed like a spontaneous move to say, it just kind of seemed like them booking on a whim of like, and not necessarily booking on a whim, but having to adapt because of an injury, because obviously nobody planned for Rollins to go out this early. But now that he is, it almost just seemed like they had to say, fuck it. At this point, why wait till you get back? Let's just have Braun Breaker just deck him with a spear. And I will say, and we'll talk about it more as we talk about Monday Night Raw, but if this is legitimately how they turned on Rollins and he has to go away for a while, I love it. I love it, man. I think it was a great idea. Again, you're doing the Bronze a favor, because the Bronze benefit more by having Paul Heyman there than having Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins around. And honestly, we'll talk about it as we talk about Monday Night Raw, but I think if you go about this the right way, you can put Rollins back into a character that I would much rather see him in, to be 100% honest. And again, we'll talk about a little bit more as we talk into the segments that were produced on Monday Night Raw, which I think were, I think they did it perfectly, honestly. With everything that happened through the night, they did a great job with just giving you guys a very odd vibe to go off of, because the way Rollins was talking throughout the night, I didn't know what the fuck was going to happen, but I knew something was going to happen just based off the way he was talking. Personally, I love the way they went about it, and I think this is a good type of shocking moment. Now, again, I said the same thing with John Cena's heel turn, and they showed you that, they had no plans for that whatsoever, and they had no plans for the people to be involved that they showed you were going to be involved. They had no plans for those people being involved. And obviously, this is 2025 WWE. This could 100,000 million% be a case of, all right, we're going to do the turn, and, we have no fucking idea what we're going to do with the Bronze going forward. But hopefully they do. But as for the turn itself, thought it was great, man.
Exactly. Overall, when I first saw that it happened, I was worried. I thought two things: either it was legit and they just did it for the ratings and for the negative reaction they've been getting, and there's no plan to this, and two, it was a ruse. At first, I really thought it was just going to be a ruse that is revealed at Saturday night's main event, where they come out to attack Seth, and they just attack Punk and help Seth win, and it was the grand plan the whole time. But the more all these stories come out, the more true I think it really is. And I think they did it perfectly, and I think it is a good time to do it, especially if, there is that case of the injury, because no matter what, Seth is going to have to leave. And why wait? Why have the Bronze wait in limbo for Seth to come back when we just know when he comes back, they're going to turn? Why wait? Let them be in limbo for a few months, and then come back, do the turn, and then do everything here. Just start it now. Do the turn now. I think everything they did on Raw was really cool, really interesting, and I think it could be good for the Bronze. I think they worked best when it was just them and Heyman. I think that dynamic was better than when Seth was around at the end of the day. And I think and hope in Seth's absence, it'll improve even more. And when he comes back, they'll have an enemy out of him. And, that's going to be a whole Seth Rollins related story, which I actually can't wait for, man. I didn't love this whole, Vision Seth Rollins character. I didn't love it. I love babyface Seth, and I think you could have a journey for babyface Seth again. And I think the Vision is the ultimate lesson for his character, and I can't wait to see that story unfold. And I think this is the best way to do it. Yeah, fucks up War Games, but if Seth is injured, War Games just got fucked anyway. No matter what, whether they did it now or did it later, um, if Seth is injured, and it looks like he is, and he has to be out, War Games are screwed over anyway. You're gonna have to scramble for that anyway. So might as well scramble with a much more cohesive group in Braun and Breaker, in Braun and Reed, and Heyman, and I think it's gonna be better. I like it. I'm very excited to see how it goes. It sucks for Seth. It really
Yeah.
does. I feel for that man so bad. Every time he's in those top spots, he just it sucks, man. It sucks. But I think it's best for the group. And no matter what, War Games was gonna get fucked with this anyway, and I hope they can turn around because War Games is fucked at the end of the day, and I'm very curious to see how they do it, man. But they was gonna be fucked anyway, and I'd rather them do the turn now than just wait for something we know is just gonna happen when he comes back anyway. So I love it. I really love it.
Yeah, you know what especially sucks the most is we just talked literally last week. It's the title and thumbnail about and it's crazy we didn't even know at the time, but that was our last week with the Vision. But I talked up and down about how happy I was about the, I guess, new dynamic that Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins had together. Because it seemed as if there actually could have been something there with, Paul Heyman being honest to Seth Rollins and using that to create a monster out of him. Um, and we talked again. I praised it up and down. I I praised it up and down, man. With the way it looked, the group could have been going. And then literally to know now that that was actually our last week with the Vision, definitely does suck because for the most part, the group had no cohesion. The group just felt like it wasn't a group. It felt like Rollins was just his own man, and then Paul Heyman was hanging out. It was like Paul Heyman was the parent, and Rollins was the kid who grew up and then thought he was too cool to hang out with his siblings. So instead of the older brother watching his two younger brothers, Pops had to step in and babysit the older or the younger brothers for a little bit while older brother went to go off and do his own completely separate thing. But then we got to last week, and I thought it was fucking fantastic. Which, not saying or anything that I wanted Cody Rhodes to win, but it would have been nice if they called an audible because it would have made perfect sense for Cody Rhodes to, knowing now that the group was going to break up, it would have made perfect sense for Cody Rhodes to win and then have Rollins, I guess have that be the final straw that, made them give up on Seth Rollins' vision. There is that aspect to it, but I can't even really say that 100%. I'm going to contradict myself here, but I did like, again, I did like the confidence of Seth Rollins throughout the night of
Same.
again just
Oh, he did it.
yeah,
He's on the
just
mountain.
he just felt like he was on the mountaintop, and then everything was over, within the snap of a finger. But so it definitely obviously would have made sense for the Bronze to turn on him if he did lose, but I also am interested to hear their reason as to why turn on him now, you know what I mean, as he was on the mountaintop. So I again, I love the way they went about everything, man. Again, as for Rollins' case, it obviously does suck, but this could be a case, if Triple H plays his cards correctly, this could be a case of classic NXT Triple H turning a negative into a positive, man, because you can absolutely turn this Rollins injury into a positive, and we're off to a good start, like I said, with his group turning on him, um, you know, as he was on the mountaintop, man. He beat Cody Rhodes, and he wasn't a secondary champion anymore, even though, you know, the the Vision could have a good reason for turning on him because he talked so much shit about how he had to beat Cody Rhodes and then he ended up cheating to beat Cody Rhodes, man. So there's always that really cool aspect of it. And I'm interested to see where they go with this whole storyline. But if the group is actually over, which it actually looks to be, which, you know, Sir K for sure scared me with the idea of it being a ruse, of Rollins sacrificing his body and taking a spear and a tsunami to trick CM Punk into thinking that he was all alone. Is a very interesting outcome there. And as for where do they go with the World Heavyweight Championship, I'm assuming you just put it on Punk, which is so crazy because Rollins and Punk just cannot get that World Heavyweight Championship match at WrestleMania, bro. They just can't.
It it just can't. I think it just can't. And at this point, you might as well just do it now. Have at the end of the day, this is the perfect opportunity if you want to, like I was saying, do that babyface journey for Seth and have the vision be a lesson. This was his lesson. He lost the title because of his own group and his failures with his own group to Punk, and Punk was able to capitalize on that. I might as well just do it at Saturday night's main event at this point, if he can do the match, because I guess there's also rumblings that he might not even be able to do that.
I did hear
So
that. I did hear that. Yeah.
it's crazy with Seth, man. It's crazy, but it's crazy. They just can't get that Mania match, dude.
Which is very interesting because, you know, I did hear, and we can get into it on detail on Friday, but I did hear Uncle Dave talking about a little bit about how Rollins was set to face Roman at WrestleMania. I, d-
Yes,
I
true when people were saying that, which makes no fucking sense.
that doesn't make any. Why would you do that? You build again, unless the plan the whole time was to put the championship on CM Punk at Saturday night's main event. Which isn't the most, out of whack idea, because again, I could see Triple H feeling like people are getting fatigued of Punk and Rollins, which they are, so maybe he wanted to end it this year. It also would make a little bit of sense with, Punk, it also would make a little bit of sense with them putting Elimination Chamber in Chicago, is Punk could possibly be the World Heavyweight Champion come that time, and he could be defending in the chamber to get to WrestleMania, whoever he ends up facing. But I mean, it could be the case. It could be the case, but yeah, as for CM Punk, I mean, he still owed his championship match, and we all know what's going to happen at Saturday night's main event. So, I don't know, man. I'm interested to see, how they go about this whole situation, and what the original plans were to begin with the whole thing, man. So I don't know. It's interesting, and there's obviously a lot of avenues they can go with it. But I will say this Rollins situation, it's obviously a negative situation with him being hurt, but there are a lot of positives to come out of this. It also does fuck a lot of things up, so it's an equal amount of both. I will say, but again, as for the injury and stuff, it obviously does suck for Seth Rollins that he does. Again, it just seems like every time he is at that mountaintop, everything, his body gives up on him, man, and it really is sad to see. It really is sad to see. Obviously, Rollins is a performer that we've all, had the pleasure of watching throughout his prime for many, many years in WWE, man. And obviously, this sucks to see because it happens to him a lot. But I have no doubts that he'll come back and tell a great story. And like you said, there is a whole journey you can go through with babyface Seth, and I am very excited to hopefully see him be more of himself, and not this just fashionista Seth Rollins. I would like for him to be more of that, rogue babyface, burn it down Seth Rollins again. Don't copy and paste that, but something along those lines.
Literally, man. Literally, I love that version of Seth, and I think that was always one of my favorite versions of Seth, man.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that fucking cool ass 2K ad when he was on the cover where he went and burned down the fucking like archives or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Like that type of shit was so cool. When he invaded Takeover to call out Triple H was so sick, dude. I miss that Seth, and I hope we get a more older version of that Seth post, a journey back into being a babyface, man. I think you could do something really fun and interesting with that, but it does suck for Seth, dude. And I just feel for the guy, man. That's horrible.
Absolutely, man. All right, guys. You know, normal. You got. We had to make the exception and talk about this whole Vision stuff, bro. But I will talk about my in real time reaction when we get to it, man. I know you guys don't want to hear about it, man, because it was trash, and I held you guys off for long enough. However, it's time. Oh God, there it is.
Dread logo.
You
Well,
know, Ar Envoi says Rollins gets released. You
I
know,
don't think that'll happen.
at this point, I wouldn't put it past TKO, man. They probably think he's making too much. It doesn't matter what he's done for the company for the past fucking 14 years. Yeah, it's a very TKO thing. They would probably think he's making too much, and his schedule isn't hectic enough. Or what does Nick Khan say? He doesn't like people that do
Doesn't
out of
take full.
office Rollins probably doesn't answer the phone unless he's at the office, man. So they gotta get rid of him, man.
Exa-
So
if you're not as exhausted as Roman Reigns looks when he fucking took that picture at the gym with that one fan, even though Cody Rhodes gets fucking tweets from Triple H about working hard, um, then
yeah,
then you're not working hard enough, I guess, man. Not for TKO.
yeah.
You got to be literally fucking shaking with arthritis
Just
out of working hard.
just remember, man. Um, sorry, Cody. Felt like I just had to post this. Sorry.
Holy fucking goddamn! What was that, dude?
Holy fucking glaze session. What was that?
Why you
Dynamite.
make me like him less?
Oh, 100%. That gave me such a sour taste in my mouth about Cody Rhodes, man. I mean, what the fuck, man? I mean, what was that, bro? Get out of here, man. Go to Triple H. Um Dynamite Title Tuesday.
Say, man, it's your favorite.
This episode. Okay, I have a question. So, next week or tomorrow's version of AEW Dynamite, I believe is Dynamite Homecoming. But they're both in Daly's place. So
Oh, I
technically,
wasn't.
why wasn't this the homecoming? The homecoming
If
technically
it's
already
the first
happened.
one. Yeah, they already went to home. Yeah, that is very true. Well, I think the main obvious reason
Okay.
is, for some reason it had to be on a Tuesday, and
Right.
obviously you could tell from the rating, no one watches Dynamite on a Tuesday. Um,
Oh my god.
so I think they wanted to save the more interesting episode for a time people are gonna actually kind of watch it, on a Wednesday. So
Got it.
that's the only logical reason, but it could just be Tony Khan-isms.
Yeah, it very well could be. This was from Daly's place. The once legendary AEW venue was fucking dead on this night. This fucking crowd was absolutely silent, man. I don't know. I don't know what was going on here, man. But this Daly's Place crowd was absolutely horrible. I must say, man, this was and that sucks because you know Daly's is obviously it's an iconic AEW venue. It's home to them, right? It was their home through the pandemic, and obviously we all know AEW did pandemic wrestling the best. It was awesome. It was an awesome venue. It was iconic. It's got a unique look. And it's a
Oh, it
great
does.
venue, man. It's a great venue. I don't know what this crowd was on, man, but this crowd absolutely fucking sucked balls here on Title Tuesday, man. This crowd was absolutely god awful.
Oh, dude, they literally didn't do anything. They just sat there and watched AEW. I don't know if you're the type of person that's willing to buy tickets to AEW in the year 2025, why are you not going crazy for their product? At least do that. You know what I mean? At least be one of those people that want to fucking see hologram and shit, and you'll pop for every fucking graphic match they show.
Yeah,
At least be that kind of person because it does make the show more enjoyable.
it does. It does. The show opened up with Joe and Hangman in a promo battle. Samoa Joe. Oh, and by the way, they got Tony Schiavone out there ring announcing as guys come out. Dude, what are you paying Justin Roberts for? I mean, why the fuck is Tony fucking Schiavone? Why on God's green earth is Tony Schiavone doing ring announcing? He's an awful ring announcer. He's an awful ring announcer. He's an awful commentator. Tony Schiavone's best bet is a interviewer where he just asks one question, hands the fucking guy the mic, and gets the fuck out of the ring. That's what Tony Schiavone is best served doing. However,
He's there for nostalgia. WCW here.
yeah, no, seriously. He reminds Tony Khan of his territorial days, I guess. His mid South or wherever the hell the guy used to work. However, Samoa Joe says Adam Page is a pretender. Hangman pretty much tells Samoa Joe he doesn't need to say anything to tough guys like Joe. All he needs to do is prove it when the bell rings. That was honestly pretty much the segment, man. That was the crux of it, I guess. It was decent. It was just very cookie cutter, as we can tell from last week. There's not really a story here again, so how could you expect these guys to get out there, for as great as they are? How could you expect these guys to get out there and have a compelling promo battle? These guys have been friends, you know what I mean, for over the summer. They've been fighting the same group in the Death Riders, man, so they trot these guys out here to have a promo battle. Again, that was pretty much the point of it, and it was just again, the story is Samoa Joe got his championship pushed into his chest. How, so I can't even fault these two guys because it's not like their promo was even bad. They just have nothing to go off of.
Exactly. There's just nothing to spark that fire. There is no fire because there's nothing to spark it. They're friends. They're friends on TV. And you can't. It's really hard to do a fucking program of two friends against each other when there's no reason at the end of the day to go against each other. So it's very cookie cutter, very, you did this to me. I felt disrespected. I want to face you. And I respect you, but I'm going to face you and best man wins, shake hands or whatever the fuck. That's literally all it is, dude. And you can tell.
For sure. So, next up, we have Jon Moxley versus Tomohiro Ishii.
They're so lucky that entrance goes so hard.
Yeah.
You see a match like that, you don't give a fuck. And then you're just there for the Death Riders Mox entrance. That's all you're there for.
Dude, Tony, who did you think was interested in this match is my question. Jon Moxley versus Ishii. Again, we had a Death Rider entrance where Jon Moxley in Daly's place, he comes up that ramp, that one ramp, you guys know what I'm talking about, that one ramp off to the left side of the arena that he always comes out in. But before that, all you see is a silhouette of Marina Shafir slapping him in the face. And then obviously the Death Riders are so cool, man. I cannot explain to you, last year for year-end awards, the Death Riders got 1 vote. And I thought that was fucking absurd. This year, if they got 1 vote, I would actually probably say, all right, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I'd be shocked if they came anywhere close to winning the award. However, I will say, man, if they did get 1 vote this year, I won't look at them crazy just off aura alone because their entrance is fucking dope. And again, Jon Moxley dropping the world championship, I think, is the best thing that could have happened to the group. I think the group's actually been very cool, and I've loved the again, just the aura that the group has had. Just based off their entrances, and obviously too, I like a lot of their groups just cohesion. As of late, it seems like they're more of a group, and the group, the chemistry within the group is, again, back when the Death Riders, were, during their championship run, back in early 2025, nobody knew what the group was there for. Half the group was talking about, we're here to better AEW, and the other half of the group's like, yeah, we're here to fucking tear this place down. And like, what are you here for? Like, what are you doing? What is the point of this group? And nobody fucking knew. But honestly, man, I've really enjoyed the way that this group has been, and I think dropping the world championship for them and stepping out of the limelight and just focusing on, causing havoc and just, terrorizing the roster, has made the group gel a lot better.
I think it has. I think losing that title has been so amazing for that group. And, they actually feel like a cohesive group, man. They all agree on the same goals. They all dress similar. They all have, like, same cool entrance. They all do it a little bit differently, but it's still like the same formula. They're cohesive as fuck, and that's all you could want, especially nowadays from a modern wrestling faction. A lot of them don't have cohesion, and that's usually their biggest problems, i.e., the vision. And that's why we called them the Death Riders for a while, because they were like the Death Riders. They said the same thing. Half the members wanted different things. They didn't interact with each other. But now you look at the Death Riders, that they're a legit group. They're all together. They all have the same mindset. And it's really fucking good. And that entrance has been going so hard, dude. And it's so nice not having them have the weight of the main event scene when there's no one to face them, and just being just a cool piece to the show is what was needed. And I think if Seth never did get injured, I think if you did that with the Vision, I think you would have had the same successful results that the Death Riders did. Unfortunately, you can't do that nowadays, but it worked for the Death Riders, man, and that just goes to show when you're doing a major faction thing, at the end of the day, it's best not to give that faction a world title off the bat, because it never works out, dude. It almost never works out. You have to build up to that, and look what happens when you're just building a group up genuinely. Death Riders, they're the fucking coolest thing in AEW. Easy, coolest faction I'd say right now in the business.
Yeah, I would.
Who else
other...
exist?
Yeah, I can't say it's the Wyatt Six or the motherfucking Tongans or the fucking My Fucking Tree. Whatever the MFTs, whatever the name of the group is. Yeah, I can't give the award to those guys. So, I mean, maybe it's the demand. Maybe,
I demand them to be off my television, please.
Yeah,
God
I mean,
damn.
I can't even say it's the Hurt Syndicate at this point. They fucking dropped the ball with them severely. So, yeah, I would.
They're a punishment.
That's actually not a wild take. That's not a wild take at all. So, I mean, it's and two, you mentioned the whole thing with the championship and stuff, and we were talking about that in private the other day. How the vision for a long time was the Seth Riders until the Death Riders actually became a little cool and it wasn't really an insult anymore. Looking the same thing happened with the group, man. This literally the same thing happened with the group. You got to a point where you form this group, and with Moxley, it was very quick. With Moxley, the group had been together like a month, and they got the world championship. However, the Vision, it took a little longer, but still, you put the world championship on these guys for, pretty quickly. And when you have the pressure of that whole main event stuff, and you don't actually let your group blossom in the start of it, you can clearly tell, and it's not even necessarily the group's fault, but it's the booker's fault. Clearly, they both have no idea how to let a group gel while having them in that main event scene and in the pressure of that main event scene. So I hope both of them, Tony Khan and Triple H, do take the lesson of when you have a group, establish them as a group first. Let them make their mark as a group first before you want to go throwing the pressure of a main event scene. Put a tag title on them to begin with. Don't give them the pressure of that world championship right off the bat, because a lot of times you got to move things along too quickly because you're in the world title scene. So obviously, again, there is that pressure, and you got to have those main events and all that type of stuff. And I guess their way of building cohesion was, well, they're in the main event scene and they got the world championship, so we can build cohesion in the group by running an interference in all these main events to really give the group a sense of being together. And it gets old and it sucks. And again, with the way they did both of these groups, everybody's wants something different. The group doesn't have any time to gel. They're just constantly in that main event scene doing the same stuff because they have the chemistry hasn't been built there. So their only idea of building chemistry is having them fight the same baby faces in main event interferences and ending every Monday Night Raw or AEW Dynamite with the heels standing tall, and it just builds no cohesion. All they're doing is beating people up. You know what I mean? So it just seems like they just have no time to gel. And again, you take the pressure of that main event scene off of them. Look at the Death Riders. They've actually probably made a case for faction of the fucking year, which is just, I didn't fucking predict that. If you go back to our 2025 predictions, that was not in the predictions, okay? It wasn't. So, I don't know, man, but,
Unfortunately, we are.
yeah.
Sorry,
Yes.
sorry to disappoint.
I'm sorry. Sorry to disappoint. We are still on Dynamite, man. But yes. But Jon Moxley beats Ishii with well, I guess we're kind of talking about the Vision. I guess we're comparing the Vision and the Death Riders. But yes. But the Death Riders, or Jon Moxley rather, beats Ishii with a sleeper.
Man, I thought Ishii had it. I thought he did. I thought the Stone Pitbull would have been able to fight off the Death Riders, man.
Jurassic Express are back, and they are fighting jobbers. They put Jurassic Express in a squash match as if this is some debuting tag team that we've never seen before.
They did put their world champion in a squash match one week. Well, he was a world champion.
Yep.
So I wouldn't put it past them. Dog. This is Jurassic Express. This is the reformation of one of your fucking best fucking groups you had in your company's history, and it was a really dope ass fucking reunion with these two. And this is what you do. I get, the kind of person they were going against had to leave to film and whatever, but like, you couldn't have came up with anything for these guys going for the tag team titles, maybe try to go for the tag team titles, but they're not that cohesive yet. So, maybe it's a journey about, forming, being a great team again together with their new dynamic of like, they're kind of darker people now, both of them. Nothing. Just facing jobbers.
Yep. So they win with like this like suplex, like this X-plex into a power bomb double team move. It was pretty cool. And the Young Bucks attack them afterwards, and they issue a challenge for a 500K tag match at Wrestle Dream. You excited to see them fight for $500,000?
What the fuck is a dinosaur gonna do with $500,000? You know,
Okay,
like
is he
it,
gonna upgrade his scales or something? I don't know. I don't know. He's
what the
gonna buy
fuck is he gonna do?
dinosaur food. I don't know.
Is Jack Perry gonna buy better blacksmithing equipment and make cooler knives? Like I'll give it for the Young Bucks. The kind of money thing works for them. I think it only needed to work that one time, and then you just have them just spend it all just to keep being able to do the same thing, and that's its own problem. But like, what is with this shit? Can they face for something, or you could just have a genuine feud between these two where the match and the result of the match is reward enough for said group. Like Doc.
Man, I when they have when they had their EVP status stripped from them at All in Texas, I would say I thought we were going to go on a babyface arc with these guys again. I didn't think we were going to go in for the next 3 months. I didn't think we were going to go into a uh God, I'm already yawning just thinking about it. I didn't think we were going to go into a money gimmick where these guys just want to wrestle in matches for money all the time. That wasn't on my
Don't
bingo
get it.
card.
No, it wasn't either on mine, unfortunately.
We have a Kyle Fletcher versus Kyle O'Reilly match.
Two.
Um, yeah, yeah, oh yeah, Fletcher versus O'Reilly 2. We have Kyle Fletcher winning with 2 brain busters. And then we have the Don Callis family coming out and attacking Kyle O'Reilly. Roddy and Ishii come out for the save, but obviously they get outnumbered because there's 20,000 members in the Don Callis family. Mark Briscoe comes out for the save, and the Don Callis family retreat. I don't know why he was the deciding factor for them to all run around. However, or to all run away, I mean, but this is now leading to us getting Briscoe versus Fletcher 5 at Wrestle Dream. When the other 4 happened, I could not tell you, but we're getting Fletcher versus Briscoe 5.
Man, I loved all 4 of the first matches whenever the fuck they happened. I couldn't tell you, but I'm excited for number 5, man. Like, why are you putting the number of matches for every little fucking match? You do it for your fucking Hangman and Kenny match, for your fucking Young Bucks and FTR number 17 match. You don't do it for matches like this, dog. You do it for the ones that matter. You could do it for Punk and Seth, man. You can't do it for this, dude. 5. Good lord.
You do that the next time you do Osprey versus Hangman. You do that the next time you do
Exactly.
Hangman versus
Swerve.
Swerve.
Yeah.
I mean, you really Mark Briscoe versus Kyle Fletcher 5. Come on, bro.
Dog.
Mercedes Moné defeated Lacey Lane, the former Caden Carter, in WWE. She was the local Florida person that Mercedes wanted to face, and Mercedes packed her up and beat her with a statement maker. So, I'll say this. I felt very bad for Lacey Lane because Daly's Place could not have given any less of a fuck that she was there. She had like a video package where, you know, she was revealed as the opponent, no pop, and then she came out and there was no pop as the video package was playing. So I'm like, can the crowd not see this? And then she came out and there was absolutely no fucking reaction. You could even see her looking off into the crowd and you could see the look of realization on her face that there was no reaction, and she just had this look of damn on her face. So she was the opponent, and yeah, Mercedes Moné beat her. So that was that. And yeah, like I said, Daly's Place could not have given any less of a fuck, but Mercedes wins here. No shock there.
Classic AEW debut, especially for the women's division. You debut against champion, you lose, you go on to do nothing for a year and a half until they use you for like one 2 months run where you're actually really fucking good and used really well, and then you're not used again, man. So I'm sure in 2 years she'll be used in AEW for like two months, and then never again.
100%. The Hurt Syndicate defeat the Demand in a street fight. Haha. Can I demand for this feud to be over, please?
I demand for Ricochet to be with a cooler group. Why is he with them?
Dude,
Wh- wh-
then the worst part, instead of pinning Toa Leona or Bishop Khan, Shelton Benjamin German suplexes Ricochet through a table and pins Ricochet. The fucking leader took the pin.
What do you say, bro? I demand this group to be no more.
Yeah, that's what I'm demanding too at this point. Sami Zayn, not Sami Zayn, no, Sammy Guevara and the Beast Mordas.
Yeah, dude.
They're doing a
Oh yeah.
Oh my
What?
god.
You don't
Yeah,
love it?
dude.
You
No,
love this shit.
I
You
don't.
love this shit. This shit is the way to go, man.
Sammy Guevara and the Beast Mordas. They're doing a video package, promo with Eddie Kingston and Hook. They challenge them to a match on Collision. And the
I
Beast
guess
Mordas is wearing Sammy Guevara's sunglasses and growling.
when did Guevara get put in LFI?
I have absolutely no idea. I was gonna
Okay.
ask you when this happened because I don't know.
Because I saw it on the graphic and I was like, wait, what? When did this happen? I thought Bro was a baby face with fucking Dustin Rhodes before he left. I have no clue. I don't watch ROH. I'm sure it happened on ROH. Who the fuck is watching that shit?
Not me.
Not me. Never me.
So we have Okada and Takeshita defeating Brodito in a double Jeopardy eliminator match. If Okada and Takeshita win, they get a tag title shot. And if Brodito wins, then one of the members gets a shot at the International Championship or the Unified title, whatever it's called now. Okada tags himself in and hits a Rainmaker to Bandito. And they get their tag match at Wrestle Dream. Great.
Okay. Let's go.
I wonder if they're going to win, being that Bandito is hurt. So we shall see.
We shall see, bro. We'll see. Probably.
Orange Cassidy versus Pac. This is the main event of the show. Pac had a very cool entrance. He was sitting in a little boiler room all alone by himself with the Death Rider's red lighting in there. And he walks out to a new attire. He's wearing like a singlet, but imagine like with pants. Like not like baggy pants though, like, almost like compression pants. Imagine a singlet just with, pants that go all the way down instead of being cut at the thigh. It was different, but not bad, I guess. I probably would have preferred to him to just stay in his regular gear. But it was, again, it's gonna take some getting used to, but I'm sure I'll get used to it.
Or I think like maybe like some like military like black just cargo pants and like a black tank top would have done that job a little better. But like you said, I'm sure I'll get used to it. It is what it is.
Yeah, definitely would have preferred for him to just stay in the regular tights, though.
Yeah, same.
Darby Allin, or Orange Cassidy and Pac fight off into the crowd, and they got up by the barricade. Darby Allin then appeared and handcuffed Pac to the barricade. And as Pac was about to get counted out, he just got loose. I don't know how he got loose from the handcuffs. I guess it was one of those fake handcuffs that just has the little button that you press and it'll undo you. So he gets handcuffed to he gets handcuffed to the barricade. He then gets loose, runs all the way up into the ring. He jumps over the top rope. Barrow rolls over the top rope, and immediately Orange Cassidy rolls him up and beats him in his return match. Tony,
The dog.
dude just came back. What the fuck? You just packed bro up?
I get, Orange Cassidy came back recently too. Maybe that's why you don't put two freshly returned people against each other in a match because
Maybe, yeah.
someone's gonna have to fucking win. Maybe, just
Yeah.
maybe,
Yeah.
maybe.
Maybe that would be a fucking great idea. Maybe that would be a great idea. However, yeah, Orange Cassidy beats Pac in his return match. That is just absolutely incredible, man. Because Orange Cassidy needed the victory. Darby Allin then sprays Pac in the face with pepper spray as he attacks Yuta, throws him over the announce table. The rest of the Death Riders come out and they go to run up to Darby Allin, but he threatens all of them with a taser. He then goes all the way up the ramp, and Jon Moxley's so pissed. Marina Shafir's trying to hold him back, but he runs past everybody, and he goes to run up to Darby Allin, who's standing off to that little part where FTR drove in for their AEW debut. He's up in that area, and he's standing there with a Molotov cocktail. Holy shit. I think be prepared for Wrestle Dream 2. I already know the IWC is going to have a bitch fit over it because it's gory and it's indie garbage, but
It's gory. Someone's getting set on fire.
Somebody's getting set on fire. 100%. So,
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't doubt. I would not doubt if a Molotov cocktail was actually used in the match. I don't know, man. My guy thinks I guess Darby Allin is Lincoln from Mafia 3, man. Because I don't know what this dude's got. I don't know what this dude's got in mind, but apparently he's been taking some notes from Vito Scaletta, bro. Because yeah, this is gonna be nuts. But Darby Allin is standing there with a Molotov cocktail, and he then gets tackled by security. To end the whole altercation, and Moxley gets, carried away by the Death Riders, or pulled away by the Death Riders, man. As that was AEW Dynamite. Outside of the Death Riders and Darby Allin's feud, the show fucking sucked. Per usual, man. And the crowd should be ashamed of themselves. This was once a legendary crowd for AEW.
It really used to be, dude, and now that crowd fucking blows. That episode is pretty useless, man. I do like the Darby and Mox stuff. I like their story. I like their dynamic. I'm excited for that I Quit match.
That should main event.
Someone's gonna be fucking. It really should at this point. It's your most interesting match, so you might as well just throw it in the main event. Um, Very excited for that. Other than that, the show is fucking useless. It's your classic useless AEW Dynamite episode.
Yep.
And yeah, that's usually AEW Dynamite nowadays.
There you go. So before we move on to SmackDown, which I am itching to talk about this episode of SmackDown, you guys should be itching to get yourselves some Dubby Energy, man. Dubby is an energy drink loaded with vitamins and nootropics formulated to improve focus without getting the jitters. Dubby is a clean formula that is sugar-free, zero-calorie, free from fillers and artificial colorings with 150 milligrams of caffeine per serving. You can get your Dubby products today with the link below and code NHP at checkout to save yourselves 10% on your next Dubby purchase.
Truly, always got to shout out Dubby. Whether workout, whatever you may need the energy for. It's October, man. Maybe you want to stay up, watch a horror movie. We got Wrestle Dream coming up. You'll probably have to stay up till about midnight for that show. If you want to stay up, if you want to have the energy and the focus without the jitters, try Dubby, man. You'll get all that, and it'll taste good all at the same time. Always gotta shout out Dubby.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And as always, man, thank you to the great people over at Dubby, the official sponsor of what we do here at NHP. SmackDown. This was your October 10th edition of SmackDown from Perth, Australia. This was our episode where we got brand new creative.
Still looking for it, but let's do it.
I gotta say, they, and when I say they, I mean the IWC, they gassed this episode of SmackDown up a bit too much. Now, I can say, I can see the urgency to, I guess do something a little bit newer. Maybe, a little freshen up. But it wasn't as life-altering as the IWC. They were talking as if, prime 2018 NXT Triple H came down from the heavens to book this fucking show. I personally did not see it as that. Again, I seen some new things that I liked on the show. However, again, it wasn't really an earth-shattering, creatively episode of SmackDown that it was made out to be, I guess.
Oh, it was, and they really overhyped this, man. It was a good first step in the right direction, but it was not this all of a sudden show-altering change of momentum. They hyped it up way too much. They gassed the shit out of this, and it was nothing but good first steps in a direction of a possibly better show.
Yes, which, again, keeping WWE to the standard that they should be kept at. SmackDown should have never got that bad in the first place. So that was your first problem with the roster that you have on that show. That show should have never gotten that bad. A lot of people got new theme songs, or not new theme songs. A lot of people got their old theme songs. Sami Zayn's U.S. Open continued this week, as we had his challenger for this week was none other than returning Shinsuke Nakamura. I knew this match was going to happen. I was not excited for it. All these fans were like, man, we're going back to TakeOver Dallas. Really? Really? We're going back to TakeOver Dallas. Okay. I'm sorry to inform all of you. That was 9 years ago. And that was when Nakamura actually had some upside in this company. No, this was not Takeover fucking Dallas. Everybody was also stoked because he had his old character back. No, he didn't. He was trying to ride the coattails of what once was an amazing character. He comes out to that music nowadays, and I feel nothing. I feel absolutely fucking nothing. He can even probably wear the old attire that he used to wear, and I would still feel nothing. I feel nothing for Nakamura. I'm sorry, guy's washed up, bro. I don't care to see him.
Really is, dude. Sammy's been great with this, open challenge thing. He's been doing it really good, man. And you got Shinsuke there. I mean, it's nice he's got his theme back. It was a great theme. It's classic. I still feel nothing, dude. I still feel nothing when he comes out there, when he wrestles, when you see him backstage, whatever the fuck. You still feel nothing. What is there to feel with Shinsuke, man? Nothing. Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. The match got broken up by a returning Tama Tonga, but this wasn't the typical Tama Tonga that we're used to seeing in WWE. Obviously, the Tama that we know, he wears, he wears he wears his leather vest, and he's got his mullet, and he's got no face paint, right? This Tama Tonga was different. This Tama Tonga started growing his hair out. This Tama Tonga had the New Japan Gorillas of Destiny face paint. Look, man, all I know was that shit was dope. That was absolutely dope, man. He comes out and he attacks Nakamura and attacks Sami Zayn, and the rest of the group comes out. Tongaloa, Hikuleo, and JC Mateo all come out there, and they're all wearing face paint as well. So it seems like Solo Sikoa literally has assembled his soldiers. Solo Sikoa came out there at the end of all of it to stand there with his soldiers, his group, and Solo did not have any face paint, but he is the, I guess, general, or the, I guess he's the general of the whole situation. So I guess he doesn't really need any face paint. But even if he does, I think it would still be a pretty cool idea for him to wear some face paint. We've obviously seen him wear some face paint before with the homage to Umaga. So, I think it would be pretty cool maybe for him to eventually get some, but the group is back and they have a completely different vibe, man. They're all wearing face paint. I don't think the face paint is going to make Tala Tonga wrestle any better, but it certainly makes him look cooler, which helps his case. He he kind of just looks like old Tama Tonga when Tama Tonga had long hair. He looks like that. I will say Tongaloa is even more goated than he was before with the face paint, and then JC Mateo.
Exactly.
JC, continue, please wear face paint every week. That has got to be the funniest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Keep it up, brother. Keep it up.
How's he still the goofiest member of that fucking group, no matter what they're doing, dude? Yeah, Tama Tonga returned. I'm very glad. I think he's fucking amazing. I'm very happy he returned. I love the return of the face paint. Tongaloa, he's back with him. Great to see. Tally Tonga is fucking just tall, old school Tama Tonga, I guess, with way less wrestling ability. It's his big boot and his clothesline, and that's all he does, man. And they got JC Mateo still out there looking like a dork, even with cool face paint on. So MFTs are back in full force. I'm glad Tom is back. I hope that helps the group a lot, but they still feel overall exactly the same, man.
Yes.
Talatonga is useless. JC Mateo is a dork, and you got the three cool ones in the group, man. So hope their dynamic can better over time, man. But it is good to have Tamatonga back.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's nice that the group looks cooler, but again, to point out the creative, who did they attack? They attacked Sami Zayn, the same fucking guy that they've been feuding with forever. You know what I mean? It's just it's just a bunch of people in that bloodline circle, right? They went from Jacob to Sammy, and then Sammy is getting some time to breathe. Now it's right back to Sammy again. Again, he got a little bit of time to breathe after he beat Solo in Paris for the championship, and it's right back to Sami Zayn there. So again, I got to point out the creative there. Everybody's touting about the new creative team, but where is the creative freshness in that? He's feuding with the same. He's feuding with the same same people he's feuding with before. Man, there's no innovative creative there. I'm sorry. There's not. I'm not interested to see Sami Zayn keep up his feud with the fucking MFTs. So yeah. We would also see them later in the night. However, Zarya and Sol Ruka were on SmackDown again as they get a women's tag team title match in the coming weeks. It has yet to be announced. At least I don't remember it being announced. In the coming weeks, they will get a tag team title match with Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. Where are they on the show? They're one of the better parts. I like their chemistry a lot. This is the most I probably ever enjoyed Charlotte Flair, and now you don't put her on television. Wonderful.
This man Triple H makes no sense. You finally do a Charlotte character that I actually fucking like to see for once in her career, and like you say, you don't put her on television. I actually really like that tag team, and I really like their fucking dynamic, and we rarely get them. So thank you, Triple H. You just never know what the fuck to do.
The Wyatt Six take on the Street Profits.
Like pack up the street.
And they packed up the Street Profits. I want to say it was like 8 minutes. They packed up the Street Profits. I'll give them a pass because this is the first week, and I know the match had probably already been announced. But for the love of God, if we have to see the Wyatt Six versus the Street Profits again, I think my head may explode.
Dude.
I pray that the creative gets 10 times better. I really do. I really genuinely do, man. Because again, it's just, SmackDown is just rinse and fucking repeat, and so is Monday Night Raw. It's just SmackDown somehow worse. So I hope we can get better with that. But the Wyatts defeat the Street Profits. But what was interesting afterwards, as the Wyatts were celebrating, the whole group wasn't out there. It was Gacy, Dexter, Rowan, and Nikki. There was no Clayface in the ring. Uncle Clayface. All of the sudden, as the Wyatt strobe lights are going off, you see all of the members of motherfucking Tree, the MFTs, jump up on the apron, and all you see in a sea of darkness is a bunch of face paint pop up, which I will say was an amazing visual. They get in the ring and they all stare down with the Wyatt Six as Solo hops in the ring and he stares off with Nikki Cross as the 5 MFTs stare down with the 4 members of the Wyatt Six. Now, is this War Games now? Because what really other faction warfare do you have going on the show? Unless, like I said, you do the same thing. You do the baby faces versus the Vision and Brock Lesnar and Austin Theory. You just have, to substitute Seth now. Unless you do that, which you could.
Could do that. I don't know how much I want to see that from the heel side, to be honest, at this point. I really don't want to see Brock Lesnar with them. I just really don't. But you could do that, and that could be really cool. And then you could do this. You could do MFTs, why it's six. You can maybe make it different. This is usually why you shouldn't just advertise something like War Games the whole time, and not just let it come naturally. Because even if it was your plan the whole time to do a War Games, your plans got fucked up. If you didn't always advertise Survivor Series as War Games, you could have just not did it this year,
Yep.
and you could have just done something simple for Survivor Series. But now you have to do it. You have to scramble to find something. This might be your best bet, I guess. Maybe this should be a lesson for that, but it won't. They won't learn.
They definitely will not. They definitely will not. But I mean, it could be. It could be. It's gonna. I mean, we'll have to see how interesting it gets over, you know, the next month and a half. We'll have to see how interesting it gets over the next month and a half because it could heat up. It also couldn't. I honestly see the whole Vision versus Babyface's route being being the more plausible option because WWE is obviously going to want to get bigger names on the show because you know if you don't do if you don't do the Vision versus the baby faces. How do you get LA Knight, the Usos, and Roman Reigns all on the show, right? How do you get Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed on the show? And I just feel they would want to prioritize that over the Wyatt Six versus the MFTs. However, if WWE want to do something cool at Survivor Series, you could do an MFT versus Wyatt Six 5-on-5 elimination match, maybe. Maybe that would be cool. I don't know how that would fit with the two other War Games matches on the show, or at least you could do the Wyatt Six versus the MFTs for the tag titles. That might be interesting.
Cool.
However, for a while it looked like the MFTs were done. Uh, and again, it looked like they kind of canned the group or forgot the group or whatever the case was, but or it seemed like they wanted to just hit the brakes with the group, and now the group is back, and it seems like they are starting their feud with the Wyatt Six, and I like it. As for why they were going after the Wyatt Six, it could be a championship thing, being that they went after Sami Zayn earlier in the night. They could want, they could just want to go after championships. However, I'm excited for the feud to start. I hope it ends up being good. I hope it does end up being good. So, yeah, I mean, it's nice to see the MFTs, I guess, looking somewhat cool for the first time in a long time. However, I am interested to see what happens with Jacob and Tama. When's the next time they will interact and how will they interact? I'm very interested to see because the last time that they were all on screen together, Jacob was cool with Tamatanga. That was his boy. So I'm interested to see how that whole dynamic works.
Definitely very interested to see, the next time they interact.
We also got, speaking of Jacob Fatu, we also got a Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu #1 contender match for Cody Rhodes and the WWE Championship next week. So I hope Jacob can win and take the championship from Cody Rhodes, as I'm tired of seeing Cody as champion. But we all know that's not going to happen.
Cody's gonna, I'm sure Jacob's gonna win, or he can even, no matter who at the end of the day, worst part is I don't even care who wins because they're just gonna go on to lose to Cody for no reason. So, what's the
Cody's
point
got
of
to get
any
it
of this?
back.
Good lord.
Cody's just got to win the championship back from everybody that he faces.
He has to.
And in the main event, we had a last man standing match with Aleister Black and Damian Priest. We seen Zelina Vega get involved and stop Damian Priest from putting Black through the tables, I guess, on the outside or whatever Damian Priest was planning on doing. Zelina Vega Aleister Black's real life wife stopped Damian Priest from this. She begged him not to hurt him. Damian Priest then he he put his hand close to Black's throat. It wasn't on his throat. He put it close. And then he started pulling his hand back as he was saying, "Ah." What the fuck
He's
was
so
that?
ass, bro.
What the
He is
fuck
so
was that?
trash.
Is that
Dog.
your, obviously Kane and Undertaker, they had the thing where they would put the hand up and they would, sit there and wait for you. Not Damian Priest, bro. He puts it close to you and then he reels it back as he screams, "Auralus dork." What the fuck was that? Did you honestly think that was fucking cool? That was, oh my god, that was horrible. That was so horrible.
That shit was flames, dude.
I
That's
know
the
he
worst
did
part.
too. I know he did.
Why on earth? Well, logically, why would you put your hand close to him just to slowly wind it back, just to go forward, just to grab him by the neck again? By the logic of that move, that is. Imagine you're in a fight and a motherfucker just puts his fist up to you and then just slowly you sock him in the face. That is horrible. He looked like a dork. He is a dork. He lives to be a fucking dork. He sucks.
He does. What the fuck was that, dude?
Why
Where's
does he,
the?
why does he think roaring is the coolest thing ever? He is such a dork.
He's such a dork, dude. We have Aleister Black then throwing fire in his face, giving him a black mass, and then he fell off onto the tables that were set up over there. And he stayed down for the 10 count as Aleister Black defeats Damian Priest in the last man standing match. WWE Medical is top tier. Damian Priest just got fire thrown in his face, so instead of giving him some ice, or instead of, pouring cold water on the burn, they gave him a dry ass towel to put over his face. So I don't know what the whole idea of that is. I don't really think that's what you're supposed to do when you get a burn is rub it with a dry ass towel. That'll probably rip more skin off, but it is what it is. Yeah, Damian Priest loses. Well deserved loss for Damian Priest, man. I was very excited to see him lose. As for Aleister Black, it's funny they put him with Zelina Vega, but not Andrade. I think Andrade could have used her a hell of a lot more than Aleister Black will. However, I'm curious to see what they do together.
Very curious. Curious to see how it is together. I don't know how much, I want to see it, but it's obviously happening, and I'm very curious to see how it goes, man. So we'll see it over time. We'll know more of a vibe overall over time of how this goes, man. But we'll see, man. We'll see.
Definitely. So that was everything for SmackDown, bro. Honestly, I know it's just week 1, so obviously we'll continue to assess as we move on. They have a lot of work to do. We all know that. They have a lot of work to do. And I hope that I hope things get better, but again, this episode with a lot of the creative decisions, you could definitely still see the holes in their game, and I don't overall think I don't think it's all sunshines and rainbows just yet, because a lot of people were making it out to be that. And again, I'm sorry, it's nice that some of these people have their theme songs back, but you can't just expect that to change everything, for a lot of these people, and the way they're perceived and the way they're booked. So, it is what it is. Nice to see the MFTs with face paint. And it was nice to see Jacob Fatu take direct shots at the WWE Championship and whatnot. But, at the end of the day, man, it's going to take a couple weeks, and I really hope we can continue to trend in a better direction. I can say, SmackDown this week was in a better direction. It's not saying much, but I guess you could see the trend in the right direction, but it wasn't, again, well, I will say it again, it wasn't some, creative rejuvenation that people were making it out to be.
It was good first steps for, a better show in the future that you have to keep up with and constantly do overtime. They definitely overhyped this episode. It was not this some instant change to the show and the dynamic of the show. It needs work, and this was the start to the work, and we'll see over time how much the work sticks.
Indeed, we will. So, Monday Night Raw. Ladies and gentlemen, for the second week in a row, there was no New Day, and there was no El Grande Americano, Rayo or Mayo. Paul, keep it up. At least with them.
Exactly.
Keep it up. Keep them in the back. Keep them hidden away where I never have to see them again. I have noticed, too, ever since last week, you could tell stuff like that doesn't really make the show much anymore, which it shouldn't. Give time to the things that people actually want to see.
Thank God, dude. Thank God. Like, they basically so far, it seems like they got rid of the Judgment Day clubhouse segments, which is good. Keep up stuff like that. It doesn't matter to the show.
Please keep stuff like that up. The open to the show, you guessed it, was the Vision. Seth Rollins.
In retrospect,
Uh-huh.
I love that they started the show off very formulaic to their own formula,
Yes.
just to switch it in the end. I think they did really good with that.
Oh, 100%. I thought everything the Vision did tonight was fantastic. I think they did a great job at everything. So Seth is out there with his boys and his adorable Oracle. That might have been that might have been peak. That might have been peak in the Dumps Vision. That one week where Paul Heyman referred to himself as the adorable Oracle. That was oh my God. That was just that was bad. Anyways. He talks about the greatness that he has assembled. He then glazes Paul Heyman. He says that they have solidified him as the GOAT, and he is blessed to be in his presence. He gives him a hug. The Australian crowd chants for them to kiss.
Yo.
And Paul Heyman kisses, or Seth Rollins kisses Paul Heyman. Indeed. Not on the lips. He kisses him on the head. Huge pop from the crowd. Seth said, he's got no shame. He then looks over at Braun. He says, and you. He says, Braun, give me a little tweak or something. Come on, give me a little something. So Braun Breaker, Braun is hilarious, bro. I'm sorry. He slowly takes his glasses off, and you could tell he's trying to hold in laughter. And he starts doing his little tweak. He just gives a little tweak. So he does it. Crowd pops huge. He then tells him, he says, Braun came to him with all the potential in the world. And I've turned you into the undisputed future of this business. He then looks over at Bronson Reed. He says, you, Auszilla. He says, you couldn't have beat Roman Reigns without me. He says, without me and my knowledge and without my vision. He says, and now look at you. Now you are the new tribal chief. He asks Perth, who is the greatest? He says, I have a question for you guys. Who is the greatest world heavyweight champion of all time, and why is it me? He laughs. He says he has not needed... this is where things got interesting. I thought this was really weird, and I was ready to come on here and complain about this because I was like, why would you say that? Like, I mean, obviously it's, it's going to be building blocks for later in the feud, but again, I was thinking, why are you saying this now? Because, I was thinking the group still's got another 6 months. Say this at the tailor end. You know what I mean? Don't say this now. So, he says, Rollins says he has not needed anyone to get his success. The crowd chants bullshit. He says Cody Rhodes needed me for his success, and Roman Reigns needed the Shield, and he needed the Bloodline for his success. Rollins says he never needed Braun Breaker, and I never needed Bronson Reed. I beat Roman Reigns and CM Punk in the main event of WrestleMania on my own. I won the World Heavyweight Championship on my own. I beat Cody Rhodes with one arm on my own, and I didn't even think. I didn't even give that a second thought. What do you mean with one arm? Which obviously we would find out afterwards that he was spotted around Australia wearing a sling. He says, I do not need the men in this ring. I chose them, and they chose me. Because I am a visionary, I am a revolutionary, I am the greatest to ever do it. I am Seth freaking Rollins. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Because, again, I was ready to come on here and shit all over this. When he said that, we're in October. I'm thinking this thing's got at least till April. Maybe even May. So I'm like, dude, are you really going to sit here in October and say you don't need these guys, and then these guys are just going to follow you around for the next 7 months doing your bidding? Like, what the fuck is that? It makes them look stupid. But, you know the saying, and the saying actually fits perfectly. The vision is 2020 when it's behind you, right? Hindsight is 2020, right? That's what they say. Well, the vision in this case is 2020, being that it's our hindsight now. And the fact that he did this was perfect. And if you rewatch it, at the end of this segment when Rollins is celebrating, Braun Breaker has this look of disgust on his face, which he's done before a couple times when Rollins, it kind of gets a little cocky. You can kind of look and see Braun Breaker looking at him like, okay, dude, like, okay. Yeah. But honestly, again, I was ready to come on here and shit all over this. I'm not going to lie to you guys, man. I was very pissed off with this because, again, you're making the Brawns look stupid. If they're going to follow this guy around for the next 7 months after he said it over and over. I don't need these guys. I don't need their help. I don't need either of them. I chose them. Makes them look stupid. However, hindsight is 2020, and I really mess with this segment. There's also another segment in the night that's actually, in my opinion, better than this. I really love that segment. But again, doing a great job to make you think this is just another formulaic night for the Vision.
Exactly. They did a really good job with that, like that opener. Because of what happened at the end, obviously, like you said, without what happened at the end, this would have been actually really fucking annoying and bad. But with what happened at the end of the show, this was perfect. I like the tension it built. I like the tease it built, and they set it up really fucking good.
Of course. So we got Rusev in the back. He tells Penta he just talked to Pierce and he will be facing the winner of the Intercontinental Championship match between Penta and Dom next week. He says, and you better pray it's not you because I haven't forgot. about that kick last week. So my advice to you is to pray. As Penta walks away, he calls him a bendejo. And he says, he does his, cero miedo in his face. And he walks away. And he walks away. And then Dominic goes to walk into frame, sees Rusev, and turns around. So, gotta love Dom. Did you see his neck tattoo? He got the OG Mysterio mask on his neck.
I think it looks dope. I think it fits him. He's just got a bunch of tattoos, so I think it fits him. It's not like Cody, where he just is completely blank and then just a big colorful logo on his neck. It really fits him, and I think it's good, man.
For sure. For sure. Remember the first time we seen that? We thought that was fake, or we thought it was like paint.
I thought it was like just like not even like I thought it was like just fake. Like you said, I thought it was fake, and then it was fucking real. And now it's kind of a part of him. It is the most Cody Rhodes thing at the end of the day.
Oh,
so
I was
it
just
makes
gonna
sense.
say that. That is the most Cody Rhodes thing to do, bro. It really is. So, we then get to the Penta and Dominic match. Bro, Dominic hit a suicide dive that switched into a tornado DDT. Bravo. Bravo. This guy is, again, we say it all the time, put the guy in the fucking ring more.
People got really interested with him, so keep it up.
He can actually wrestle now, so keep putting him in the ring, please. Which they've actually been doing a pretty good job at, I will say.
They have.
So, Rusev runs out there to distract Pentagon, and Penta dives over the top rope. To take out Rusev, and as Penta's doing that, Dominic throws the AAA title away to where the guy with the ring bell looks away to grab the championship, and as he's looking away, Dominic grabs the ring hammer with the IC title, brings it in the ring, and as the ref is distracted getting the IC title out of the ring, Dominic still has the ring hammer. He hits Penta, he chop blocks Pentagon with the ring hammer, puts it in his boot, and uses it for impact on the 619 and wins the match via, the cheat here. I thought this cheat was genius, man. I really did. I thought this was genius. And I love the way they continue to make Dominic, win in very Eddie Guerrero ways. I thought that was very creative. I thought that was a cool thing to do. I can't tell you the last time we seen somebody use the ring hammer. That they used to ring the bell with to win the match. And I also love the little detail of him putting it in the boot to use it for impact on the 619. I thought it was great, and Dominic and Rusev is now thus confirmed for next week. So we will be seeing this again. I hope this isn't their new rinse and repeat thing where they just have Dominic run through Rusev and Pentagon. But we shall wait and see, man. But yeah, I thought this was great.
Most definitely, I really liked it. I think this is what you have to do with Dom, or have him wrestle and have him, find a way out to win for an opponent that he, should be able to, or should have to do it to, or just logical to do it to. You don't have to do it for every opponent. Obviously, it's going to be good if sometimes he just straight up wins clean, man. But scenarios like this, I think are really good, and I really like the way they ended it. This one, it was clever, and this is what we need more of with Dom on the weekly.
Yes. Asuka is in the back, upset. She tells Kairi Sane that she needs to face Rhea Ripley tonight to make up for them losing at Crown Jewel. Kairi shows her the bruise on her forehead, and she says, "How is it my fault? I got this, trying to help you." Asuka then slaps the dog water out of her and tells her that she is going to She is going to do this match whether she likes it or not. She's got to turn on her, right?
I was thinking watching this is that has to be the goal here, right? Because what else could be the goal? You know what I mean? It has to be, dude. It has to be.
I would really hope so, because if she, I mean, unless she like snaps into Asuka's way and like fully commits, because yeah, that's good. Like, why are you hanging around her, bro? Like, what at this point, I genuinely start to ask, like, what she's just blatantly treating you like shit at this point. She's not even like, you know, manipulating you, but then trying to gaslight you like Roman Reigns used to do in the Bloodline. I mean, she's downright slapping the shit out of her every week, man. So I don't really know what's going on there. However, we then get this Rhea Ripley and Kairi Sane match. Kairi Sane had her old NXT theme song. That was pretty cool.
So yeah, it's cool. People are slowly getting their themes back. We got some Def Rebel news come Friday, man. So hopefully, music wise, everything's heading in a better direction.
I hope so. Now we just have to knock out the two most important ones that we heard in the news last week. Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. Please. Come on.
Please, please, for the love of God, dude, just do it, please.
And also, if WWE, if you're feeling really frisky, you can give Roman Reigns head of the table back. I've had enough of I Am Greatness.
I've had enough of I Am Greatness too. That every 3 weeks we get to hear it. I would much rather hear head of the table.
Me too. So, you know, that song became so iconic, man. That'd be like changing John Cena's theme song. It really would.
It really would, and I wouldn't be sure. I mean, they tried to fucking change Randy Orton to some random generic Def Rebel theme. Thankfully, he had the power to politic that to a no. But if he didn't, they literally would have switched Randy Orton's theme to generic Def
Randy
Rebel.
fucking Orton. Randall Keith Orton was going to get a
Genuine.
Def Rebel song.
I would love to hear what that sounds like because I know it was just gonna be god awful.
Oh, I know. I know it was just, I know it was the shittiest, most unnecessary remix of voices you've ever heard. So, we got Rhea Ripley winning with a Riptide to Kairi Sane. The Kabuki Warriors attack Io and Rhea after. Rhea was about to put Asuka through the announce table, but Kairi Sane stopped, started beating Rhea with a kendo stick, which led to the Kabuki Warriors winning the brawl. So that was that. I'm sure we're gonna see more of it next week. This will probably bleed into Saturday night's main event, if I'm guessing correctly.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it will. I'm sure it's gonna bleed into Saturday night's main event, and it's just gonna be another weekly occurrence on Raw.
There you go. Let's see. So next we got the Usos backstage. Jimmy, he's in the back taping his wrist. He says he's going to take care of Bronson Reed tonight. He says, let me ask you a question. Obviously, it's just him and Jay, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. He says, you mean to tell me we helped the tribal chief out and we're still getting blamed? Jay then says, he said it himself. He only goes one way. All he does is look out for himself. Maybe we should do the same. He says, I appreciate you helping with the vision, but I can't make the same mistake I did in Paris. Looking out for Roman cost me my World Heavyweight Championship. So tonight, Jimmy cuts him off. He says, tonight what? Let me guess. I'm on my own tonight. He says, Big Jim can't handle Bronson Reed. Jay then butts in. He says, that's not what I meant. Jimmy then says, well, that's what it sounds like. He says, you know what? I get it. Tonight, you handle your business, and I'll handle mine. and he walks off as Jay looks very distressed at this. He looks very distressed at his brother walking away from him. So, yeah, I mean, a little bit more. This was a bit of a tame week, but a little bit more of Jay, just being conflicted. I guess being conflicted. It's like he wants to be like Roman, but he knows it's the wrong thing, and he doesn't want to commit. But he also kind of does want to commit, and he kind of just wants to be his own man, but again, he also loves his brother, so it's hard for him to do that. I'm really messing with it, man. I'm really messing with it. And obviously, this wasn't, I would say, as interesting as weeks prior. Like I said, this was more of one of the more tame segments with the Usos in it, man. But nonetheless, still an interesting development to the story, and we would obviously get a little bit more of it tonight.
100%. A good, interesting development. I obviously like the way the story is going. I like the conflictedness from Jay. I like the frustration from Jimmy. And it's just going to continue week to week. And I can't wait to see it continue, man. I love the way it's unfolding. And like I said, I think last week, my only hope out of this is we get at some point Jimmy just telling Roman straight up, well, why, his path is bad. And I really hope we end up getting that. That's my only, hope and scaredness for this feud. But other than that, or the story, but other than that, I love it.
Yes, and we have Big Bronson Reed versus Big Jim. Big Jim hits a hip attack, and now mind you, his ribs are taped from last week. He hits a hip attack and the Whisper in the Wind, or as Michael Cole called it, the Uso in the Wind. Which these two moves obviously involve Jimmy kind of hitting his back, one on the turnbuckle and then the other one just on the mat, which commentary pointed out could be hurting his ribs. Bronson Reed would then take control of the offense and slip up Big Jim and hit him with two big sentons and a tsunami to seal the deal, which obviously sealed the deal for Bronson Reed and took advantage of Big Jim's injured ribs. Afterwards, Braun Breaker would come out and give Big Jim two spears. He would then go to spear him through the barricade before Jey Uso comes out for the save and gets the Bronze to retreat, which they did kind of. They kind of splashed him in the corner a little bit, which kind of had him a little staggered. Which Jay was close, not necessarily, but he was close to making the same mistake that he did in Paris. I'm surprised that they did not have him fully make that same mistake. However, I thought for sure he was going to get his ass whooped, which then led to him not being in the main event, which actually what happened in the main event and him just losing clean is interesting as well. And I'm very interested to see how he feels about that whole thing. But afterwards, Jimmy thanks Jay for coming out there, and Jay was kind of mad at Jimmy. He was kind of yelling at him a little bit. You could hear him yell at Jimmy to tighten up before he got out of the ring in a little bit of anger, man. So I'm interested to see, like I said, where that whole thing goes, especially after what happened in the main event. I'm interested to see how he feels about that next week, because the character arc of Jey Uso, we say it every week, has been one of the most interesting things on Monday Night Raw. And yeah, I'm interested to see how Little Roman is going to feel about all this come next week.
Very interested. I feel like he might, even without wanting to, de facto, and pull a Roman and blame it on someone else, i.e. Jimmy, because, he did get that little splash in the corner and, it kind of fucked him up. And I think he's going to de facto end up blaming that for his loss, even though it really wasn't for his loss. I'm very interested, excited to see where that goes, and I think that's the general direction.
For sure. And speaking of the most interesting parts on the show, we have Lyra, Valkyria, and Bally. They are in the back in Gorilla. And Lyra is trying to tell Bayley that them teaming together, this is just a one-time thing. Bayley laughs, shrugs her off completely, and basically is like, yeah, whatever, one-time thing. Come on, let's go. We gotta go. So, Bailey goes out there for her entrance, and obviously Lyra does too, as they're out there for their match against the Judgment Day. God, saying the name just makes me yawn. We're out there,
Dude, I'm telling you,
man.
ugh.
I will say though, I am stoked that we have not gotten the clubhouse, the 6 clubhouse segments that we get on the usual. Happy for that. But she so we're in the match, and Bailey and Lyra are kind of struggling. They're getting their ass beat by the Judgment Day, and there comes a point in the match where Lyra gets frustrated, I guess, with Bailey's performance, so she slaps the shit out of her. It turns Bailey around, and she stumbles onto the second rope. And in this moment, you just see this, gaze come over her eyes. And she just starts going nuts at this point. She starts going absolutely balls to the walls as she runs to the outside of the ring and just starts mopping the floor with Raquel and Roxanne. She then throws Roxanne in the ring, hits her with a rose plant, and seals the deal for Bailey and Lyra Valkyria. And afterwards, Bailey and Lyra celebrate as Lyra had this look of realization, as if, and commentary even pointed it out too, she's starting to figure Bailey out, which that is very interesting, man. And I love to see their chemistry build up. I love to see them rebuild their chemistry after, they hated each other after the whole Becky Lynch feud. And I will say, man, I'm very glad that they continued this whole thing on. And I'm very glad they're giving Bailey this type of, character arc and character development week by week. And again, I love to see Lyra Valkyria start to understand how she can turn Bailey into controlled chaos for the both of their benefits, man, to take apart the Judgment Day. So I really like it, man. I really like it. And again, for the it's for like the second month in a row now, this stuff is actually, some of the best stuff on all of Monday Night Raw, if not the very best thing on Monday Night Raw at the moment. I enjoy it. And again, I like seeing Lyra, relearning Bailey's psyche, I guess. It's a very cool thing to see.
Exactly. I really like it. I love their dynamic. I like this fucking just randomly tweaks out fucking Bailey. She's like Braun. She just randomly tweaks out and goes demon mode and goes crazy. And I like how Lyra's kind of learning that and kind of like just pointing it in a direction and using it for their wins, man. I'm very curious to see how that's going to end, if that's going to be more of Lyra kind of just joining in on that mindset, or if eventually Bailey, kind of targets that towards Lyra. She feels like she's using her or something. I'm very interested to see how all that goes. I'm here for the ride. I love, everything they've been doing from earlier in the year to now. These two have been fucking amazing on this show. And it continues, and I continue to be hooked week to week with what they're doing. So I love it from these two.
100%, man. Who would have thought that Bailey? Who would have thought that Bailey, would have such an interesting, what am I trying to say? They've really turned the whole Mania debacle, and all the thoughts about, Bailey possibly leaving the company. They've really turned that into a really good story, man, and are making a great case for her to want to re-sign with the company. So I got to give it to him for that,
They are.
because, the stuff with Bailey earlier this year was very unfortunate, but it seems like they've turned a big negative into something that is, in my opinion at least, been an amazing positive for Monday Night Raw. And in the summer, well, and in a fall so far, where Monday Night Raw has not been the greatest, this has been, this has been a beacon of sunshine on the show. So I got to give it up to both ladies for that.
100%.
The Vision. The Vision are backstage as Seth Rollins is it started off with just Rollins and Heyman, and Rollins is telling Heyman that the last 6 months have been incredible. But I have a feeling that the next 6 months will be even greater. Rollins then tells the Bronze as they come into the room, he says, to be honest with you guys, man, this has been the best weekend of my professional career. He says, in life in general, the birth of my child, marrying my wife, and seeing how much you two have grown have been the proudest moments of my life. He says, I don't know if you guys know this, but you guys are breathing rare air. He says, guys, this is the mountaintop. And even though I feel like we're at the mountaintop, I just have a feeling that we are this close to taking that next step. And he says, guys, I'm on cloud 9, and there's nobody who can knock me down. This was awesome. When he said that, I couldn't help but think, what is he talking about? And obviously, based off the news we heard, my mind immediately went to, are they going to add Austin Theory to the group tonight? Is that what they're going to do? The Raw after Crown Jewel? Like, okay. I was like, all right, I mean, that would be pretty cool. But obviously, again, I said it earlier in the show, hindsight is 20/20, and bro, I love the giant question mark that was this segment, because the whole time, you know, there was just a weird vibe from Rollins in this whole segment. Again, he's talking in riddles. He's not really explaining exactly what he means, but he's giving you these very eerie lines that are just like, they're a big question mark. They just make you think, like, what the fuck is he talking about? Like, what does he mean by that? And man, come the end of the show, that made all the sense in the world. That made all the sense in the world to what is obviously eventually going to be his eventual babyface arc, man. So I absolutely loved everything they did here. I loved it, man. Again, I just love the giant question mark and the eeriness of, you know, what is he talking about? You know, and even the Bronze, they didn't really have anything to say because everybody was kind of just like, what is this guy talking about? You know, and he's again talking about being on cloud 9 and, you know, this is the mountaintop, but he feels like they're this close to taking that next step. And you can't help but ask yourself, what does he mean? What does he mean by that? You know, so I love this segment, man, and I thought they did an amazing job at just, you know, making you question, you know what I mean? Which in the end of the show played to the turn's benefit all that much.
I did. I love this. I love how content and happy he is with the group and his success. And you know, I do think that him winning on Saturday was the best, even for this turn, because it put him on cloud 9 to him. He did it. He secured the trust of the locker room, the Vision, Paul Heyman, and he's content with that. He literally said he's on cloud 9. He's at the top of the mountain. And he never would have thought his own group would have been the one to knock him down, man. I love it. I love what this implies. I'm very curious to see, you know, what it implies, you know, kayfabe-wise for, you know, what the fuck Seth was talking about. And I would really love, and if you know, Austin Theory was, you know, the original plan to join this group before all this happened, I would like if he still does. Maybe, you know, Seth already sent that invitation, and to him in that moment, that's what he expects to happen in the future, is, you know, they get another member and they grow even stronger. I would love if Austin Theory still takes that invitation and joins the group, but obviously against Seth Rollins, and he uses that invitation against him, and everything Seth did backfired against him. I would really love that.
Mhm.
And I'm very curious to see how that goes, man. But I love this segment. love how it built into to the ending of the show, man. And I just love when like the heel bad guy is on cloud nine, and it just all crumbles around him. I fucking love it.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I thought this was done great. I thought this was done great, man. It was yeah, like you said, done to perfection. And it also obviously brings up a great question. You know, speaking in kayfabe, what does that mean? What did he have in mind before, you know, Braun and Bronson had other plans? You know, it's very interesting. It's very interesting to see. Um speaking of interesting, we have AJ Styles and Adam Pearce, which this took a
Spe-
non-interesting turn. Um
Speaking of going from cloud nine back to reality,
yeah, legit. Adam Pearce sees AJ in the back and he thanks him for the match at Crown Jewel. He says it was a masterpiece. Dominic walks up and he says to Adam Pearce, "Why am I the only working champion around here?" AJ says, "You know what? You are. So maybe JD McDonough and Finn, maybe they could be working champions too, and they can defend their championships against myself and Dragon Lee." Adam Pearce says, "You know what, Dominic? That's a great idea. Well, you can tell your guys next week they will be facing AJ Styles and Dragon Lee for the tag team championship so they can be working champions as well. And make sure to tell them, Dom, this was your idea. Unless you want me to tell them." Dominic obviously gets pissed off. He says, "I'll tell him." And he walks away. So, yeah, the match is made official. JD McDonough and Finn Balor versus AJ Styles and Dragon Lee. You know, I really have a feeling that AJ is going to be done after WrestleMania. Could we please get a world championship on him before then? Just something little. Or a championship on him?
championship, the IC, a little spent with the world, at least something, dude. It's just something, and that world heavyweight title looks to be, pretty open for the time being. Maybe we could get, Punk and AJ. That'd be a cool program. I'd be down to fucking see, man.
Oh, yeah.
We could get, AJ and Braun. That would be a cool program. I'd love to see. I'm sure we won't. We get Brodito at home. So that's what we get, and I think. And I wouldn't be shocked if they win those next week. I wouldn't be shocked if they want more Judgment Day tension by basically making them lose their titles next week.
I could very much, very, very much see that happening, man. So, hopefully, man, maybe WWE does want some creative, difference. Maybe they will pull the. Obviously, they pulled the plug on the Vision, man. Maybe they'll have the balls to pull the plug on the
Please
Judgment
pull
Day.
it up, Judgment. Please, I will fucking pay Triple H myself directly to pull the plug on the fucking Judgment Day.
Yeah,
I will buy some fucking stock in the company if they do that shit.
I was gonna say I might have to indulge with you there, man. At that point, man. I mean that Christmas came early if that's the case, but we all know WWE. We gotta wait for Liv to get back, and then we'll wait another 2 years before anything really happens, and then after that, we'll probably have to wait like another 5 years for something to happen after that. So, you get the point, but yeah, that was that. Stephanie Vaquer is out there for a promo. She says she is blessed to be the first woman in WWE history to win 4 titles in 1 year. Wow. So, in the middle of her talking, she is interrupted by, you guessed it, the Judgment Day. She's interrupted by Roxanne and Raquel Rodriguez. Roxanne tells Stephanie she was the last one to beat Io. She says she should have been the one to hold both titles. Stephanie tells her, "Why don't you try? Stop crying and do something about it." Roxanne says, "I will, but on my time."
Okay.
So why did you come out there? So,
So
I,
what was the point of that?
so if now wasn't your time, then why are you out there? Obviously, it wasn't going to be right then and there. Stephanie wasn't even dressed to wrestle. But I there is nothing more I hate than when heels beg for something, and then when the babyface wants to give it to him, they say, "Oh, I will when I want it."
I,
Motherfucker, you just asked. What?
and they're giving it to you. Why would you not take that opportunity? You
Hello?
moron.
So it looks like this is the next program for Stephanie Vacher, man. Roxanne Perez, I mean, I'd be down with it. It's kind of weird being that Roxanne and Raquel are kind of into this whole judgment, or kind of into this whole Bailey and Lyra stuff right now. So I don't really know what the creative thought process is there, unless that's over with now. I don't know what the point exactly of this whole thing was, but I don't know what the fucking point of anything is, man, because we need a draft. We can't continue to hold out with these same fucking rosters because, again, look look at what they did with Solo Sikoa. They put him back with Sami Zayn. They put him back feuding with Sami Zayn because there's nothing for anybody else to do. How hard-headed do you have to be? How fucking hard-headed do you have to be, man? We need a draft. It's not rocket science, dude.
Literally, dude, I don't get it. I don't know where this is going. I guess this is gonna be like a Stephanie and Roxanne / Judgment Day thing. Maybe Bailey and them are done. Maybe they're still gonna be around, and maybe Bailey being kind of close to the women's world title maybe makes her snap or something, or maybe that it inspires something. I don't know. Very curious to see how it goes. I love Stephanie. Think she's great on paper. Stephanie and Roxanne should be like going crazy, but Judgment Day stuff gotta make it all weird, man. But we'll see how it goes, man. I'm gonna give them a little bit of a chance next week to see how this moves.
Definitely. So yeah, I mean, again, I can appreciate wanting to do something different, but again, your talent pools or your recycling pools are getting a bit much, I will say. So I don't know. Hopefully they get their shit together with that. Will they? Probably not, but wishful thinking. So we got the main event. CM Punk versus Jey Uso versus LA Knight for a number one contender spot at the World Heavyweight Championship. Jey Uso goes to go for an Uso splash. CM Punk gets the knees up, and as Jey is stumbling, CM Punk hits Jey with a GTS to secure the victory for himself, man. As CM Punk moves on and becomes the number one contender for the World Heavyweight Championship once again. Without the Seth injury, I really wonder what they had in mind for Saturday night's main event, if they were going to take the championship off of Rollins anyways. Because if that's the case, it really makes me think, did they actually blame Rollins for the product being boring? Did they blame him being world champion for the product being boring? Because if that is the case, which I could absolutely see that, I didn't know Seth Rollins was booking the show. I didn't know Seth Rollins himself was the problem.
Exactly, and I wouldn't doubt it. They do that type of shit all the time, man. So it's not Seth's fault that his group was the way it was. He Heyman and the other guys always did the best they could to make it as good as possible. It's always up to the booker in situations like that. And it was Triple H, and he failed them. He failed them. But I wouldn't doubt if they were blaming him.
I was going to say, it's not up to Rollins to look at the script and say, hey, Doesn't he kind of say the same thing every week? Maybe we should, hey, isn't this dynamic very odd between Roman and Paul Heyman? Don't you think we should freshen this up a little bit? Hey, maybe this group has no fucking Hey, well, why is this group never together? Hey, why do the bronze look more, why does Heyman with the bronze look more beneficial than Rollins with the bronze? I didn't know that was Seth's problem.
I really didn't know.
Yeah, it's almost like, it's almost like Sherkay said. Maybe it's almost like that's a Booker problem, But what do we know,
Exactly.
right? So Breaker comes out there and he starts spearing people. He spears Jay. He spears LA Knight. They then get in the ring and attack CM Punk. We get a spear and a tsunami to Punk. Rollins is out there celebrating. And I want to tell you, I'm sitting here, right? I'm sitting right where I am now. I'm looking at my monitor and I'm watching Monday Night Raw. And it's about 9:30 in the morning. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, I could shut this show off right fucking now and nothing, and I mean nothing, is going to happen. And I'm sitting here, man, I'm like, and I swear, when I seen Rollins hold that belt up, legitimately, I was like, are you actually fucking kidding me right now? I was like, are you actually kidding me right now? First of all, he says he doesn't need him earlier in the night. So clearly, they just helped you take out Jay, Punk, and LA. So obviously, clearly, you needed some help in that department. And then you said we were on the cusp of greatness, or whatever he said. We're gonna take the next step. We didn't get a new member tonight. So I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Are like this is the cusp of greatness? You just did the same thing you did every other fucking week on Monday Night Raw? Is that was your idea of being on the cusp of greatness? So I'm sitting there like, dude, I'm about to shut this show off, man. And I was like, you know what? Just hold out another 3 minutes. It's not gonna hurt. And boy, am I fucking glad I did, because I'm sitting here and I look away. And I'm looking maybe like right here, and obviously my monitor's over here, and all of a sudden, I just see out of the corner of my eye, Braun Breaker just start booking it. And I hear this, and I just see this man deck Seth Rollins with a spear. And when I tell you, I was sitting in my chair like this, and I'm so annoyed with the fact that I'm watching another formulaic episode of Monday Night Raw. When I tell you I jumped up so quick, I can't even remember the last time I jumped up out of my chair like that, watching anything Monday Night Raw related. Bro, this man, Braun Breaker, decks Seth Rollins with a spear. This almost reminded me of the level of shock that the Judgment Day turn when Damian Priest and Balor turned on Edge. It almost kind of reminded me of that, because it was so out of left field. Because again, like I said earlier in the night, I'm sitting there mad that Rollins is like, I don't need these guys, because in my mind, I'm like, dude, we have a whole nother 7 months. You mean to tell me these guys are just going to be okay with him saying shit like this for 7 months? Nah, bro. That was it. He decked Seth Rollins with a spear. He gets in Bronson Reed's face, and he tells him, you're either with me or you're not. Bronson Reed stares at Braun for a minute, and they drag Seth Rollins over to the corner and gives him a tsunami, aligning with Braun Breaker in this whole thing. Paul Heyman is shocked. I'm sure you can imagine the face he was giving. He was ridiculously shocked. And Braun then grabs Paul Heyman by the collar, and he tells him the same thing. He says, you're either with me or you're not. Paul Heyman goes from looking shocked to his classic devious look as he grabs both of their hands and raises their hands up as Braun Breaker grabs the World Heavyweight Championship and raises it above his head as Paul Heyman celebrates, raises the hand of the Bronze, as Michael Cole had a pretty cool line here. He says, Rollins always says these two are the future of the industry. And the future is now. Holy fuck. That was incredible. Again, I was obviously stoked when this happened because I was like, oh my God, they actually did it. I had a little bit of fear thinking about, what if, this is just WWE spontaneously just doing shit with no plan. I hope there's a plan here, and again, that can always be the case. I'm not saying that that's completely out of the question at this point. That could very well be the case. We've seen it multiple times this year. We are no strangers to seeing that in WWE. However, again, if Rollins was hurt, why have him go out hurt, go all that time, and have the Bronze just on Monday Night Raw stalling, doing the same thing, and, again, just stalling, when you can have them turn on Seth and immediately start a nice story for when Seth returns. I think this was the best outcome. Again, it does suck for Seth, obviously, and it sucks that the Vision did kind of start to get a little better. It got a little better last week, again, with the whole dynamic with, Paul Heyman being upfront and honest with Seth Rollins. It definitely made that a lot better in that regard. It definitely made that a lot better, I thought. And I thought maybe we were trending in the right direction with the Vision, and they were going to take it a direction that is going to benefit the group. And here we are, dude, 1 week later, literally 1 week after that, talking about the group breaking up. So absolutely crazy, crazy stuff here. Again, it does fuck up War Games because the whole War Games stuff was centered around Seth Rollins being, this dastardly villain. However, I do think they're probably just going to substitute Seth Rollins with a substitute. No, I don't know who exactly that is going to be. However, man, I really can appreciate WWE pulling the trigger on this and not being scared to do it. I just hope they have a plan. Again, but yeah, it can fuck up War Games, but it also could be good for War Games if they go about this in the right way, man. So, I loved it. Again, I think they did a great job all night at just making you question, why is Rollins saying that? Or what does he mean when he says that? And then for all this to culminate with Braun Breaker just decking this guy with a spear at the end of the show and turning on him and aligning with Paul Heyman and Bronson Reed. Again, the group had no cohesion anyway. Paul Heyman was already with the Bronze anyway. You know what I mean? And it already felt like he was benefiting them more anyway. Than Rollins was at some points. Rollins was off doing his own thing half the time. So we're gonna get that. And again, I would love to see Seth Rollins come back with more of a rogue character again, where he's dressing in the black jeans and the black hoodies, and burn it down Seth, right? Burn it down Seth, that we all remember from 2018 and whatnot. So I would love to see something more like that. I would like to see something more like that, man. I think that would be the way to go. But as for this, man, I thought it was great. I thought it had an amazing amount of shock factor to it, and it was another great moment. However, again, there's been a lot of great moments. I just hope WWE has the plan and the vision for the plan for these two to back it up.
Really hope they do. I hope they could make a plan out of this. I love that moment. That moment was great. It was shocking. It was perfect. And I think it was the right decision. No need to have those guys just wait around for the inevitable when he comes back and then turn on him. Might as well do it now and give them the chance to really make something out of all this while he's gone. And I love the moment. I think they handled the whole night perfectly. They made it the most like generic Vision night, and that made that moment so much more perfect. Seth was on cloud nine. He thinks he did everything right, and he didn't. And I love what that did, man. I'm very curious to see how they go from here. Because from everything with the news, and there's news that I guess just dropped. I don't think Seth will. It doesn't seem like Seth will be able to face Punk anymore for that world heavyweight title, man. So everything we'll have. I think we'll have way more information and a clearer sight of this come Friday with all this news, man. But everything looks very interesting for everything coming up with that world heavyweight title scene, and I think they did the Vision turn perfectly, and I can't wait to see how these guys do with Seth's absence.
Me neither, man. Me neither. And yeah, that is really crazy, man. These two, they cannot dance around and they cannot dance around an injury to save their life, man. They always stumble into one. And yeah, they can never get that world heavyweight championship match where they just cannot get their hands on that world heavyweight championship match. So unfortunately, it looks like Punk is going to have to close that story out, with not the guy that cashed in on him for it, which really sucks for the story. Which really sucks for the story, whether it was going to be at Mania or Saturday night's main event. And that sucks. That sucks because those two deserve to cap that off with the title match that, that was built up. So it sucks that, that's obviously not able to happen anymore. But but regardless, I'm sure I would assume Punk's gonna get it, right? I would assume.
Assume? I would assume overall, but who knows, man? Maybe they're moving everything around. Who knows?
Hopefully, man. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they move off of this and how they and how they adapt to this Seth Rollins injury, man. So I'm very interested to see how that whole thing works and yeah, man. But that was the Vision turn again. I thought it was awesome, and I'm interested to see what happens come Monday, man. I'm interested to see how they talk about this Seth Rollins injury and whatnot. So yeah, that is that. So that's that's everything for Monday Night Raw, man. So bravo to WWE. Let's just hope that they keep up their vision for these guys turning on Seth Rollins, man. So yeah.
100%.
Like I said, man, that is everything here today for NHP Unscripted. Thank you guys so very much, as always, for joining us here today for another edition of Unscripted, man. And yeah, thank you to everybody in the live chat. My guy Gotti, Logan, thank you guys for joining us so very much here today for this edition of Unscripted. This has been episode 269, and thank you, as always, to my guys, a part of the Replay Mafia as well. And with that being said, thank you guys, man. We love you guys. It has been always a pleasure for my Johnny.
It's okay.
That is going to do it, man, for this edition of episode 269 of Unscripted. Once again, we will be live on Friday at 3 p.m. Central, man. And we also will be live again, just a heads up, for Wrestle Dream this Saturday, man. So with that being said, that is going to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys. We love you guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you all on Friday with the news and the Wrestle Dream 2025 predictions.
Peace.